Hello, welcome to our program with author-illustrator Jennifer K. Mann to celebrate her book, The Camping Trip, winner of the 2021 Washington State Book Awards for picture books. My name is Linda Johns, and Sarah Pate, who is also here today, and I manage the Washington Center for the Book, an affiliate of the Center for the Book at the Library of Congress. And we're a partnership of the Seattle Public Library and the Washington State Library. We're also partnering today with the Washington Library Association to bring you this event. So our special guest, Jennifer K. Mann, will be in conversation with Erika Miller, the amazing youth services librarian at the North Mason Timberland Library. So thank you both for joining us. And I'm going to hand things over to Erika now. So thank you.
Thank you, Linda. Thank you. Jennifer K. Mann is an author and illustrator from Bainbridge Island, Washington, where she lives with her husband, dogs, cat, and chickens. She loves reading, cooking, camping, hiking, and swimming outdoors in clear, cold lakes. Jennifer was once an architect, but now works full-time writing and illustrating books. This is her second Washington State Book Award. She first won for the picture book, Two Speckled Eggs. Her other picture books include I'll Never Get a Star on Mrs. Benson's Blackboard, Salmon Jump, and Josie's Lost Tooth. She's currently working on illustrations for the Audrey L. and Audrey W. chapter book series written by Carter Higgins and a picture book by Allison James called Maple and Rosemary. Welcome, Jennifer.
Thank you, Erika.
Thank you for being here.
Oh, it's such a pleasure.
So we talked a little bit before, and you said we were going to start with your book. So sure. I'm very excited to hear you read it.
Well, let me share my screen, and I will read directly from The Camping Trip, and I think it's all here just fine. Okay, now I'm going to share my screen. Okay, I am Jennifer K. Mann, author and illustrator of children's books. And this is my book, The Camping Trip. These are called the end pages. This is at the very beginning and the very end of the book. And I won't read through all of the items here. It's a lot of fun to look at. We'll leave it here for just a minute so you can take a look at all the various things that are here. This is a pretty good packing list for camping. It's not perfect. Not absolutely everything is here, but nearly everything. And we can talk about it more later too. The Camping Trip by Jennifer K. Mann. My Aunt Jackie invited me to go camping with her and my cousin Samantha this weekend, and my dad said yes. I've never been camping before, but I know I will love it. I got a sleeping bag and a new flashlight, and Dad and I made some trail mix just for camping. Aunt Jackie sent a list of things to pack. A hat, sneakers, flashlight, water bottle, backpack, pajamas, camera, towel, swimsuit, sleeping bag, underwear, pillow, sunblock, sunglasses, swimsuit, shorts, bandages, t-shirt, socks, comic book, swim mask, whistle, sweatshirt, trail mix, and Foxy. I'm not sure it's all gonna fit. I'm ready. Then I wait and wait. Finally, they're here. Hi, Aunt Jackie. Hi, Samantha. Hello, Ernestine. Bye, Dad. Love you, E. I hope Dad doesn't miss me too much. It's a long drive to Cedar Tree Campground. We look at comic books. We play Cat's Cradle. We stare out the window. We sing along with the radio. Finally, we're here. It's so quiet and big. It smells like trees and fire and dirt. You need a lot of stuff to go camping, so it takes a long time to unpack. Samantha and I decide to set up the tent. I build forts all the time at home, so this should be easy. It's not one bit easy. I'm sweating. Me too. Let's swim. Okay. I love swimming at the Y. I can touch the bottom of the pool. There are fish in here. Don't worry, Ernestine. The fish won't bite you, promise. That's okay. I'll just watch you swim. When Samantha is finally done swimming, we eat lunch. Let's go on a hike. I love to hike. My dad says hiking is just walking, but in nature instead of in the city. And I walk to school every day. Here's what I need to go hiking: backpack, hat, sunglasses, whistle, camera, water bottle, sunblock, granola bar, trail mix, apple, raisins, leftover chips, cheese sticks, peanut butter crackers, cookies, bandages, and Foxy. There are a lot more hills here than on my way to school. My feet are tired already. Maybe I brought too much stuff. I think I need a water break. When we finally stop, I eat a lot so my backpack will be lighter on the way back. There is so much to explore. This is the biggest tree ever. It's huge. Don't slip. I won't. It's a banana slug. It's way easier to hike downhill. When we get back to the campsite, Samantha and I set up the campfire. What's for dinner? Tofu hot dogs and broccoli salad, my favorites. Tofu hot dogs are not my favorite, but I'm really hungry. This broccoli salad is good. Wait till you try s'mores. They're scrumptious. This is what you need for s'mores: marshmallow, graham crackers, chocolate, a marshmallow roasting fork. First, you roast your marshmallow over a campfire. Mine is perfect. Mine's on fire. Then you make a sandwich: graham cracker, marshmallow, chocolate, graham cracker. And then you eat it. S'mores are scrumptious. Before we know it, night is all around us. I crawl into my sleeping bag and we read with light from Aunt Jackie's lantern until she says it's time to sleep. Good night, girls. Good night. Good night, Mom. Good night, Ernestine. 2 seconds later, Aunt Jackie and Samantha are snoring, but I can't sleep. I'm boiling. I need to get my socks off. Where's my water bottle? Where's Foxy? I'm freezing. Is anyone else awake? Is Dad awake? Aunt Jackie, can I call my dad? Aunt Jackie lets me use her phone, but there's no reception. I want to go home. Let's go look at the stars. It's really dark. Don't be scared, Ernestine. Look, a shooting star. Wow. Make a wish, girls. Ah, I think I'm ready to go to sleep now, Aunt Jackie. When I wake up in the morning, the tent is warm and bright. Aunt Jackie and Samantha are already eating breakfast. These are the best pancakes ever. Want to swim? Last chance. Okay. We can hold hands and jump in together. That should scare away the fish. 1, 2, 3, jump. We swim and swim and swim. Race you? Okay. The fish don't bite me once. Time to pack up, girls. Packing up is even harder than unpacking. When we finally get our stuff in the car, it takes all 3 of us to close the back. Goodbye, Cedar Tree Campground. I can't wait to come back next year. Me too. It's a long drive back home. We stare out the window. We eat the rest of the trail mix. We sleep. We stare out the window some more. Oh, one page, a couple pages are missing for some reason. Okay, I'm so sorry. There are 2 pages. One is Ernestine and Samantha arriving home, greeting Dad. Oh, I'm so sorry. And then a page of Ernestine greeting her dad with a hug. Dad is hugging her very tightly, and she says, "I think Dad missed me." And then on the last page, Ernestine says, "Dad, have you ever tried s'mores?" And that's the end. And these are the final end pages, which are just the same as the end pages at the very beginning.
Thank you, Jennifer, for reading your story with us.
Oh, you're so welcome. Let me stop my screen share. And I really apologize for having those 2 pages missing. I'm not quite sure how that happened, but maybe it will compel people to pick up the book and read the whole thing.
Yes, and they can get the book from the library.
Exactly.
Yes, for sure. I always love it when I get to hear a book from the author's point of view, when the author tells the story, because then we get to hear it the way you intended for us.
Yes.
So, thank you for
Oh,
sharing.
you're welcome. Yeah, it is different, isn't it? You hear it in a completely different way than if it's read by somebody who didn't create it.
Yeah, exactly. So we're going to talk a little bit about the camping trip, but first I wanted to hear more about your background and how you went from being an architect to an author and an illustrator.
Well, let's see. I became an architect because I love to draw, and I thought that, and I was correct. I thought that drawing would be a big part of architecture, and it really is. And I loved it. I did love being an architect, but I realized what I loved is the kind of drawing I do for children's books, which is storytelling drawing. And architecture, there's a little bit of that, but not tons. And so when I had children, I started reading picture books to them. And it had been a little while since I'd read my own, the books I had as a child. And all of a sudden I thought, wow, this is the kind of art that really speaks to me. And this is the kind of art I'd like to be doing. And I love to write. So I actually joined at that point SCBWI, and that's another way of saying the Society of Children's Book Writers and Illustrators. And that was the beginning of me finding my way in a variety of routes to becoming a published author and illustrator of children's books. And I'm so happy I made the change.
Thank you for sharing that with us. And I'm sure kids are super happy you made the change too.
Yes.
So what inspired you to write the camping trip?
Well, I spend a lot of time camping with my family. My kids are now in their early 20s, so they're just out of, being home in the summers. We still go camping together, but for years and years, we have gone camping every summer, car camping. And so they have had a lot of the experiences that are captured in the book. But it didn't really dawn on me to put that into a book until a couple of years ago when we were camping. And I met this little boy who at the time was, I think he was 8 the summer that I first met him. And this was his very, very first camping trip. He'd never been camping, and he was with a group of people, and they had all kinds of things planned, including swimming and hiking and all the things. And he and I became friends because I had dogs, and he was both scared of and really interested in my dogs. So we spent quite a lot of time together. And I saw him get into the water to go swimming. He'd never been swimming in a lake before. And he put his feet in the water, and he had a scuba mask on. He put the mask on, and he stuck his face in the water just like Ernestine does. And he jumped out with a big scream, was terrified because there were fish swimming around his feet. And he laughed eventually about it. He didn't think it was funny at the time, but he, over the course of the many days that we were all there at the same time, he eventually became really comfortable swimming and hiking and doing all of the things. And so I have now, we tend to go camping at the same place with some friends around the same time in each summer. And so I have run into him several more times. And now he's an old pro, you know, he swims and he paddles and he jumps off the dock and he does all the things. And so he really did inspire Ernestine and the story. And yeah, it didn't dawn on me until I met him that really all kids trying camping for the first time, or even after many times, have many of the same experiences. And suddenly, you know, his story made it clear there could be a story that a lot of kids would relate to.
Thank you for sharing that. That actually answered my next question was Ernestine based on anyone you know? So
well,
thank you.
Yes, well, she is somewhat based on this friend of mine, but also there's a funny image of them all hiking uphill, and Ernestine is exhausted, and you see Samantha and Aunt Jackie there perfectly, you know, striding up the hill. And that is sort of reflective of the group that we go camping with. There's a portion of us that are incredibly, you know, able to run up the mountain, and others of us who are sort of lagging behind. So in every scene and every moment, we sort of had, you know, my family, my kids and the folks we camp with have had moments of laughing at the scenes in the book, because they are very reflective of us and our various natures when we're together on these trips.
Thank you for sharing that. I feel like I would be a lagger.
Well, it's not hard to be a lagger. It's some of those hikes are tough, and you do have to have stuff with you to eat, and sometimes your backpack is too heavy, and sometimes you do need water breaks, and then when you get to the top, it's all worth it, which is what Ernestine discovered.
Yes, absolutely. So I love the illustrations in this book, especially all of the different textures and elements that are added, like the book pages in the background and the words in the background. Can you describe your artistic process for us?
I can, and in fact, I think I have, well, if I can make my screen share properly again, I have some slides to show that just explain a little bit about the process, because for me to talk about it, it's a little abstract and much easier to see. So let me try to share my screen again. And there we are at the end pages again. Okay, so I'm just going to tell you a little bit of, this is sort of a nutshell of my process. And these were early character studies of Ernestine. And when I'm working, I am sort of writing and illustrating at the same time. I don't necessarily start with the writing first and the pictures later, or vice versa. I do them sort of simultaneously. I probably do more of the writing first, but these were some of Ernestine's early character studies, and this is the scene of her finding the fish in the lake. And then I, for this project, knew I needed to draw a lot of the landscape, the nature, and that isn't something I had a lot of experience with. So I did lots and lots of little dirty sketches in my sketchbook, and that's what these are. These are just out of my sketchbook, plants that are in our forests here in the Pacific Northwest, which is where the camping trip is set. And I did these kinds of studies, which are just, again, quick studies in my sketchbook. The color ones are from a park right close to my house. And I just wanted to get a sense, I wanted to get used to what it felt like to draw plants and land forms. And I knew that the book wouldn't look like this specifically, but still these studies helped me understand what I was going to be working with later. And so then I worked out the story, and I worked out the storyline, and then my publisher, my editor said, okay, why don't you go ahead and start drawing it? And I didn't know for certain that it was going to be in this comic format, But as soon as I started drawing little bits and pieces, it really made sense to put it in this comic format. And the reason I chose it is because this story is a picture book, so it's not very long, but a lot happens. And a lot of time goes by quickly, and some time goes by very, very slowly. And in a comic book, in a comic format, you can play with time in that way. So I found that making frames and putting the story in frames was the best way to tell this story. So these are some really early drawings. You can see bits and pieces of stuff you'll find in the book itself, and then a lot of stuff that also got edited out, which is part of the process. I have to be willing to let go of lots and lots of things. So these are some more tests that I did. And ultimately, when I made the book, I made all my drawings with pencil on tracing paper, and I scanned those into my computer, and then I painted them in Photoshop in my computer. So these are really early tests of my pencil drawings scanned into the computer, and then I added color on top of them, just to start to see, what would the color look like? How would I refine the pencil work? How would I tell the story the best way? So as a non-children's book illustrator, as an artist, I have loved to work in collage for a long time, and I tend to use collage in all of my picture books in various ways. And I knew I wanted to use it in this book, but I didn't know how. So these were some more experiments that I did just when I was trying to figure out the feeling of the book. And these are actually made with, as you can see, paper that I've cut, I've drawn on it, I've glued it down. And this picture of the forest, you'll see, I think I'll be able to show you, it looks very much like the spread in the book when Ernestine and Samantha have their arms around the tree and they're balancing on the log and they're finding the banana slug. But this process of collage work is actually very hard to use for illustration because it's not very flexible. I'm gluing stuff down and I can't move things around, and I needed a flexible process. So what I wound up doing is scanning a lot of textures, not all of them, but a lot of textures I thought I might use into my computer. And I figured out how to combine them with my pencil drawings so that I could move things around inside my computer for the final look. And that's how I did this image. So we'll go back just for 1 second, if I can. Whoops. So you can see in the image of the forest, you see some of those papers in there, especially the one with the leaves on it. That shows up in this image. And that's in here, I've scanned it into my computer and collaged it inside. And then all of the color of their clothing and the color on the trees, that's all added in Photoshop with paintbrushes, but digital paintbrushes. And this is one more image just to show you, again, all of these are things that I collected and collaged. So all of these papers that are the landscape are bits of paper that I have in my studio, and I scanned them into my computer, and then I was able to enlarge them and use them here in this image. And the mountains that have the words, these show up in a couple of images where there are mountains. That's just a random book that I have in my studio, and I took a page and scanned it and then clipped it into this image. And this road is actually a photograph of real asphalt, real road that I found on the internet, and I was able to clip that in there. So it's kind of a lost and found or bits and pieces process, and it's really mostly a matter of me working on it a little at a time until I like the way it looks, and I keep changing it and fixing it and moving things around until it feels right, and then I call it done. So I don't know that I could really teach anybody how to do this. I can just describe it, sort of. I think that might be the last image about my art process. Let me just check. Oh no, here's a quick run through. Okay, so here's a really quick run through of my digital painting process. So these are my pencil lines. I drew these on tracing paper with a regular old pencil. I scanned them into the computer. I then added a layer that was a background. This is a piece of grocery bag, craft paper. That's my texture. And then I start adding the paint on top of that in Photoshop, and I paint the pieces bit by bit until I have the whole picture, and I put a frame on it, and then it's ready to go in the book. And then This is just one last image that shows you the mountains with the words from a book. And this is a textured Japanese paper, art paper. And then the rest of it is just my pencil drawings and my Photoshop color. And I think that's it. I'm going to stop my screen share.
That is really, really cool. Thank you for sharing that with us. I'm already thinking in my head, oh, this would make a fun kids program. Just put out collage materials, maybe read your book, like a story time, and then just have fun together. I think that is so cool. Thank you for sharing that with us.
Oh, you're so welcome.
I think one of the things I really loved about the camping trip is that it really captures the beauty of what it's like living in the Pacific Northwest. And you're from Bainbridge Island, and I was very lucky enough to visit Bainbridge a lot last month for a show I did with the lesser known players, a theater group over there.
Oh, wonderful.
And I just love it. It's so beautiful. And so my question is, what is your favorite part about living here?
Oh gosh, so much. Well, I didn't grow up here. I grew up in Massachusetts, and Massachusetts is beautiful, but really different. And there we have kind of rolling hills and pretty short trees, believe it or not. And so when I first came out to the Pacific Northwest, I was just floored, amazed by the volcanoes and the mountain ranges, and then the sheer size of the trees. And so I'd have to say, you know, I live on an island, so one of my all-time favorite things is being able to ride a ferry boat still. And I commuted for many years. I never get bored with that. I love the environment. It's spectacular. I never take it for granted. I just am amazed by it every day. We took the ferry into Seattle on Sunday, and the mountains were crystal clear, and it was breathtaking. And then I love to swim. I do love to swim outdoors. It's one of my favorite things. And that's not the easiest thing to do here because it's cold. But when I do find warm enough place, a lake, or even a warmer cove, that's one of my favorite things about living here. It's just having access to the water.
There's so many cool places to hike and go camping. It's just, I can't imagine living anywhere but the Pacific Northwest.
Yeah, I didn't grow up camping. It wasn't something my family did. And when I moved out here to go to architecture school, my friends and I camped a lot, and it was such an amazing thing to start doing. And I just have loved it. My kids are both backpackers. They both like to go out with just a backpack and spend, you know, days hiking and camping. That's one of my goals for now that they're out of the house. I think I would like to try that.
And so we made it to our very last question here. And my question is, do you have any wise words of wisdom to any of the kids watching this today who might want to grow up and become an author or an illustrator like yourself?
Yes, I do. The same wise words I had for myself and anybody who asks me about making children's books. And that is to just draw all the time, without worrying about what it looks like or who's going to see it. You know, draw characters, draw memories, draw moments that you think were funny or could be funny. You know, draw your favorite animals, draw your favorite characters, copy other people's art, because by copying other people's art, you start to learn how to make the marks that make your own illustrations. And it will never be, you know, you're not really copying their art. It's still your hand, and it's mostly you learning. And then, you know, I was told, and I think it's some of the best advice, if you want to learn how to write really well, you have to read a lot. You have to read a ton. You have to read and read and read and read and read. So the adults that I know who make children's books really do try to read, you know, hundreds and hundreds of children's books every year in order to be exposed to them and to see what makes them wonderful. And then we all also write as much as we can. And so I'd give the same advice to any young people who want to do it. Just look at as many books of art, of children's books, anything that inspires you, and just keep reading, and then write your story down and draw it. And if you want to show it to somebody, you can. And if you don't want to, if you want to wait until it's something other, you can do that. But just a lot of everything.
Thank you so much, Jennifer. It's been really lovely getting to know you and talking with you today.
Yeah, this has been fantastic. And I'm so honored to have been awarded the Washington State Book Award this year. It really came out of left field for me. I wasn't thinking about it, and it was such an amazing surprise in a funny year. It really made my year, and I appreciate all of you so much for the work that you do in support of books, and especially kids' books.
Thank you so much. And we're so appreciative of you. I wish we could have celebrated you in person again this year, but there are future years. Thank you, both of you. And as Erika said, it was amazing to hear you read this story that, you know, we've all read ourselves, but then to hear you was great, and to see your process. And I'll add, for any grown-ups who might be with us today, that it's really fun to follow you on Instagram, and thank you for sharing sketches and your process there too.
Yes, I like to do that. You know, people don't really know what goes on behind the scenes of creating picture books. I didn't until I started doing them. You're one of the reasons I go to Instagram every day. Thanks,
and Erika, the young readers at the North Mason Timberland Library are so lucky to have you, and we're lucky you were here with us today to celebrate
Thank you.
Jennifer K. Mann winning the Washington State Book Award for the second time. So I keep saying thank you, but thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
And for those who are watching, thanks from the Washington Center for the Book and Washington Library Association for joining us today. And we hope that you have time today and every day to read. All right, thank you all.